Hey guys, how's it going? Tracy once again. Welcome to another Ghost gameplay commentary type thing. Using the Honey Badger on Siege, go 33 for 4. I think I use Red Dot and Grip, and it has the integrated silencer on it as well. So that's enough about the gameplay. It's a pretty long gameplay. I think it goes very close to time limit, but I kind of need to pick a long one to tell this story. This today is I'm going to tell you guys how I got my gaming tag. So it wasn't as simple as, I just thought it was cool or something like that. This one has a very long story behind it. So when I first started high school, I wasn't into being social or things like that. But one night I went out drinking with a friend of mine that I'd met. I think I'd met him through playing, because I used to play field hockey. So I met him through that. We met up to these other guys that are a little bit older than me. And we got drinking, got talking, and we ended up getting onto the subject of parkour. And these guys had just started doing parkour and things like that, which, if you don't know what parkour is another name for free running, which is just jumping things, stuff like that. So we got into that. We had a mutual respect for that. They taught me a lot of it. I wasn't too good at climbing things because for some reason I'm afraid of heights, still am, and fuck, that pissed me off. Bounced off my teammate's back right there. Pissed me off, something chronic, and then it lands on the roof, of course. But yeah, so back to the story. So I wasn't too good at heights, but I was good at the vaulting over things and stuff like that. I still do it every now and again. Like, that's a KM as well. It had to be, didn't it? So yeah, anyway, back to the story. So I was good at the vaulting side of things, stuff like that. So these guys, we all talked across like a radio type thing that we had stuck in our ear that was kind of like, that soldiers use. We had like a little Bluetooth radio. It wasn't Bluetooth, it was UHF connected across that. We all talked across there. But what we found was one day there was three of us, and we were, just running across the area that I lived in, and a police guy pulled us up, and he said, "You do realise what you're doing is illegal, it's technically trespassing and a bunch of other things." And he said, "If we catch you doing it again, we're gonna we're gonna write you up, or you're gonna spend the night in jail," or something like that. He threatened us with something, and we're like, "Oh, well, shit. Well, we kind of enjoy it. We really, really want to do it, and if it's going to be an offence." So what we did, we started giving each other nicknames, talk across the radio waves and things like that, tell each other where police is, and stuff like that. And we started wearing masks, things like that. And my nickname, we each picked out a nickname. Mine ended up being Reaper, just because I was obsessed with the movie Doom at that time. I really loved Carl Urban's character of Reaper, and that was like my nickname then. And so that was my nickname for a while. And then the other guys were Tank, Raid, Unk, Ingot, Zeke, Spanks, Sprawl, Tinker, Mobo, Vest, Inda. There was a couple other guys I'm forgetting, but ended up being a big group for us. We never did it all together, we ended up running in, 5 or 6. But these were just like the big group. We all had nicknames, and it was just easy to say across the radio. And so a lot of these guys, they were older than me. So I was 13, they were like 17, 18, above that. So they were getting on with life, things like that. And a couple of them went to the army. A couple of them, just moved interstate. A lot of them went to Melbourne for jobs, things like that. So, this group kind of broke apart. The majority of us grew closer. So there was a lot less of us. And a couple of guys that went to the military were Tank, Ingot, and Zeke. They all went to the military, and they all actually died in 1 month. And the other guys, Raid and Ingot, they died in a car accident together. So all these guys died within the space of 2 months of each other. And I wrote the names down on a piece of paper one day, and I wrote it down in that formation: Tank, Raid, Unk, Ingot, Zeke. It's Trays. So it's an acronym, and it just ended up being like an ode to those guys, like a thank you for what you did for me and giving me confidence in creating me in the person that I am today, and stuff like that. Because I actually wrote down the names to write down a story about each of them, to send to their family and things like that. Just what they were like as a person. I thought that was just something I had to do. I'm not very good around death or situations like that, but yeah, so that's how I ended up getting my nickname. That's how I ended up making it up for myself. But I talked to the other guys who are still alive. There's only about 4 or 5 of them now that I actually talk to, because the others moved away and some more have died and things like that. It was a really bad year that year. Like, I think in all 8 of them ended up dying, so it was a bit ridiculous. But yeah, so that's how I got the name Trays. That's what it stands for. It's an ode to my friends who were at the time. I've never really told anyone this. I've never explained my name. Everyone just sort of was, a play on word or something like that. But yeah, so that's how I got the name Trays. It's very special to me. I still think about those guys all the time. I still have all 5 stories that I wrote about them. They were really good blokes. I can tell you, I can do a commentary telling you like the greatest stories about each one of them, because we just had so much fun. But yeah, so that's how I got my that's how I got my gamer tag now. But actually, I'll tell you how I got my original gamer tag now. My very first gamer tag was actually Corpex, Corpx. And this one's very simple. How I got that one was I was obsessed with Crash Bandicoot. So Crash Bandicoot was like my game, like all of them. I used to play the absolute arse out of them. Crash Bash, Crash Team Racing, Crash 2, Crash 3, all that shit. Just played everything. I own every Crash game ever made, same as Spyro. I just love them that much. But the villain in Crash is Cortex. And one day I got tongue-tied, and it ended up coming up Corpex. And I was just like, yeah. I think this was when I was about 9 or 10 years old. And I was like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. So a couple of us at school were just being dicks, and we were actually going to create a gaming website at that stage. Yeah, when we were 9 or 10, that was our ambitions. We were going to create it called Sick Games. And so, the C was Corpex, one of us was Icy. Can't remember what the K or the S stood for, but yeah, there was 4 of us in it, and they were each like our gamer tags and things like that. That was our ambitions. We never actually got it working or anything like that, but we were actually fairly smart in primary school. But, we kind of got to high school, and when you had to learn algebra and things like that, it just was a no-go, especially for me. I'm probably now the dumbest out of my entire group. I feel like I'm a Mexican. I can't even speak anymore. Like, I stuff up simplest words. Like, you guys probably hear in my commentary, I keep calling myself a fucking Mexican just because I screw shit up a lot. But yeah, so that's getting way off topic, but that's how I got my gamer tag. I can't believe that this gameplay is still going. I've managed to talk non-stop for like fucking 7.5 minutes. This gameplay is still going. So I'm actually better. So I'll fill you in. I'm actually better now. I do have a lot of videos planned for this week. I'm not sure if I'm going to get them done or not, because I've got a DayZ one. I've got the Rust tutorial coming up. I've got a special Christmas video. I've got this one, and then I've got Best Missions in Gaming on Saturday. So I've got a lot of videos that I plan to do this week, depending on how many actually get done. I kind of promised the Rust tutorial, so that'll definitely have to be done, because I try if I make a promise, try to keep that. I try not to be a shit bloke. Try to make it so that you guys have confidence in me, and try and not be a liar. But yeah, so anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the story. If you got any questions on a gamer tag, or you want to hear a story about each guy, because I can do a commentary on each one of them. Those guys are just insane. We had great times. They didn't die. I probably should have mentioned this. They didn't die till about the end of high school, start of college. So when did I finish high school? Finished high school 2000 and started 2006. So I finished at 2009. So around about. It was actually the very start of 2010. That's right. They died in 2010. They died February, March was when it was about, and so that's when I didn't actually make up the gamer tag till later on, a couple of months later. I was just thinking about what I could still do for these guys, because I didn't go to the funeral of any of them, because family didn't really respect any of us, any of that side of us. They thought that we were leading the guys down the wrong path, that it was all our fault, that it was the way that they were and shit like that. We weren't really respected, so we didn't go to any of the funerals, the ones of us that are left. But yeah, so anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this commentary a little bit differently. I know I did ramble on a fair bit, but I had to, because kind of Siege is shit. It's very slow paced, as you can see. This gameplay has probably put you to sleep, if not my commentary has put you to sleep, because I've tried to ramble for so long. But anyway, guys, next week's will be shorter, I promise. I've been Trays and I'm out. I'll leave the last little bit of gameplay for you. See you guys.